Welcome to the Stars Align Dramas and Dreams podcast, where the infinite sky meets the starry world of dramas. We're guides through the cosmos, from heart-stopping queer love stories to straight dramas of unexpected love.
And every unforgettable moment in between that make us swoon, laugh, and cry. And, of course, we'll sprinkle in a little stardust along the way.
I'm Nixie.
I'm Cyrus.
Each week, we'll explore the stellar journey of love, identity, and connection, one drama and one dream at a time.
So, gather your stardust, find your spot under the stars, and let's dive in.
This week, we're casting our gaze upon ensemble shows, letting the stars guide us through the exciting and vast world it holds.
To start our exploration, we need to understand one thing. What are ensemble shows, and why do they matter?
I feel like this is something Cyrus should explain because of their love for them.
Okay. So, the long and short of it is ensemble shows, in the grand scheme of things, are essentially like big cast shows that, while they, yes, have large cast, it also has an emphasis on more equally, at least ideally, more equally distributing focus on both screen time and storylines across the cast versus having a more main couple and a lot of side couples. Some shows are more successful in the distribution of characters and emphasis, but it is what it is.
That's fair.
But that is like kind of like the broadest definition that I could think of that kind of encompasses what an ensemble show is at its core. I could just be extremely selfish and say, like, the answer to the why do they matter question is just that I love them. But if I break it down to like the idea of why they mean a lot to me and why I love them so much, is to make an ensemble work, there is at least an emphasis on a found family trope or an emphasis on a lot of platonic relationships that aid in making the ensemble make sense as a group. And like that's always a lot. That always means a lot to me as someone who a favorite trope amongst all media is found family. And I don't know. It just like that's really all I've got for like the overview part of it, because I've got a lot to say, but I feel like I can say them better later on. Since we now understand the basics, let's break down the constellation of ensemble shows, mapping out the stars that connect to reveal the deeper layers of meaning we're exploring.
To navigate this constellation, we'll be focused on how our favorite examples, the factors that make or break these shows, and audience perception impact ensemble shows.
We start our exploration with our favorite examples, where we'll examine the heart of ensemble shows and explore how it's essential to understanding them. I definitely know a few ensemble shows that you have seen that I haven't seen.
Which ones?
Namely, Seven Project and Only Friends.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I know why I haven't watched either. Seven Project just came out at a time that I wasn't necessarily really into watching things, and I just haven't backtracked to go and watch it yet. And Only Friends is just, I know a lot of people like it. It's just not my thing.
Which
I do plan on watching it eventually.
It's ironic because when it talked about like it was in the lineup to air and come out, you were like, "Yes, I'm ready for a very toxic, very crazy, traumatic series," and then you never watched it.
And then immediately I was like, I just have to get into the mood of like wanting to just watch toxic people be toxic to each other. And then that vibe has just never come around.
I ended up watching this with my roommate, ironically, because I felt like
No, and I always forget that you've watched it until I think about it.
I forget I've watched it.
That's fair, I think.
I don't think it would have been something up my normal alley either.
And they're supposed to make a second season to it.
Earth Mix is in it, if I remember correctly.
I know.
Anyways.
And like, First Cow is also in it. There's a lot of draws to it, but the biggest drawback is the fact that these boys are just going to be toxic to each other, and I don't know if I can handle that at my current mental
That's
state.
fair.
I just want people to be nice
Be little green flags.
and just to watch just be little green flags. But onto ones onto like just some examples. I don't know if favorite examples is like what we're about to go into, but examples they are nonetheless. As I say, is I start with one of my favorite ensembles. We Are. I love that show. It's so cute. I always forget. Have you seen We Are?
I have not seen We Are.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. I do know that I I always forget that you haven't watched it
Hmm.
because in my head, as a little to preface, there are a lot of subscription services out there, and like some of them are made so you can share
Hmm.
them. Like you can have up to so many devices. So I know you're not supposed to really admit that, but we share subscriptions. And like sometimes I feel bad about using the ones that you pay for without like asking first if it's been a while since I've used it. And at the time, WeAre was only on a particular platform. And like it was on like my list that I was really excited for multiple reasons. A ensemble show, Ponpuin, Winnie Satang, album, the works, you know. And so like I was like, hey, can I use this platform? And you're like, sure. You don't have to ask. And I was like, I do every time. It's fine. But Weir is a lot of fun for me. I highly recommend it. It is very cute. Another one that I've seen that I don't remember if you've seen or not, and like it's this moves slightly out of like the BL category, but the Warp Effect, so good. It's so good.
I think
And
you're
like
just proving you watch more ensemble shows.
well, the Warp Effect is so good. Like Nixie, you should watch it. I think you actually
I
really
probably
like
would.
it.
I don't doubt that at all.
Jung's in it.
Who?
Jung's in it. Jung. The Jung Arshan.
True. Valid point. I just haven't seen it. I didn't know it was ensemble.
So, like that cast is huge.
Interesting.
There's so many
Is
characters in
that
that show.
one where it goes back and forth, or
It's it's a mixed bag. But like while it's a mixed bag and like everything's kind of happening at the same time, there is the way it's set up is like you do kind of in like like a mini kind of way. We do have like it's been too long. Names are gone, which is wild for me, but it is. News character
Mhm.
essentially gets brought into the past via a wild thing, frankly. But like he's like sent back essentially to fix the problems that he's kind of created for himself and other people, frankly. And like it is like while we do get like everyone at the same time, we do get like these little mini sections that is kind of focusing on this problem and these characters throughout it, which is very fun.
Interesting.
There's this weird thing with like the camera, and I'm not gonna get into it, but that's kind of it's
Okay.
wild, but it is a lot of fun.
Alrighty.
I was like, because like he is brought to the past via a camera and like pictures he takes at a party, and this party is like where his night derails, his like life derails, frankly, and he like comes gets to a point where he's like, yeah, like my life is come to a wild place, and a lot of people that I would be close to, I'm not anymore for reasons I don't remember. And like my best friend, I used to hate in high school because he was a little he frankly Army is like one of the only names I remember, and it was he's played by Fluke, the shipper Fluke.
Interesting.
Frankly, Army was an asshole in high school,
Fair.
but like they become close. And he's like, "This is wild." And like it's the pictures that kind of like take him back. Like when like the picture once like the problem has solved, like the picture changes it's weird, but it's a cool concept, and I feel like it's done really well. I enjoyed it a lot. Going into shows that I know you've seen and like are like more widespread. My Engineer, I think pinnacle of if like someone thinks of a Thai BL that is an ensemble show, My Engineer is going to make the list 9 times out of 10.
Yes, for sure. That one, 4 couples, technically, but the 4th one we didn't get a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I still think there was kind of a main focus in that one, but it definitely was ensemble because of everyone else. Would have loved Perth King.
Most definitely.
Would have loved a sequel. Not gonna lie.
I do have to correct you. You said
Did
Perth
I say
King,
Perth?
which is just you said Perth King, which is just Perth the actor and the character he plays King.
Sorry.
Ram King. That's hilarious.
Is it Perth in the character he plays?
It's late, everyone.
He plays
He
Ram.
played Ram.
Yeah.
So we were both
I'm
wrong.
excited, girl. He didn't play King. Calais played King. But what I was going to say before
We're
I
both
said the wrong
It's
thing,
so early in the morning.
Ram King. I would have loved a season 2 of Ram King. And
Absolutely.
I loved, just because it was funny and cute, I still love that King was afraid of dogs. And that Ram was afraid of kids, and then there's a whole scene of them struggling with kids and a dog in the same room, trying to get one in a closet and the other one in a bedroom.
Yeah.
It is
Chaos.
chaos
In the best way.
and plants everywhere.
Absolutely. The aesthetic of Ram King is just plants. It's beautiful. Honestly, the dream.
Oh yeah. Imagine
frankly.
the fresh air he gets.
But also Why Destiny.
Yeah.
Why Destiny is a weird one.
It was because everyone was based off of a weekday. In fact, they were all friends. And each one was named after a day of the week. And they all matched the colors that would line up with their day. Not gonna lie, it was a weird one, but I think about it a lot just because I think it was one of the earlier dramas we watched.
I do
In my
too.
brain, something about it holds it kind of special, even though it wasn't anything like too crazy.
Certain stories more than others. Like this one is also set up in the set number of episodes dedicated to each couple. I think it's 2 episodes per couple, making it 14 episodes, I think.
So, yeah.
I think that's correct. No, it was 15 because the last episode is like all of them.
Was it all of them, or was it because one of them required a third? Because we had because we have
I don't remember.
Perth and Calais in this series, ironically, with Yoon.
Yeah, with Yoon. Yeah.
So ironically, I can't remember. And that
it's been so
that
long.
whole situation, I can't remember if that gained an extra one. I do know they come together at some point, but I can't remember. I don't remember. It's been so long. I like how each one had different things.
It has been. This was the early one.
I like how different ones. I liked how I don't remember who it was, but was it Saturday? I think.
Sat and Choke.
Yeah, that one was one of my favorite ones. I'm not gonna lie, because that one had to do where apparently several years had passed, and he still only thinks because he only remembers when they were close friends. Like he lose all the time that happened in between, and so he goes after Choke. And Choke's like, we haven't spoken in like a long time, and then this kind of like provokes him to like start like hanging out more and more with each other again, because he's like, I don't understand why we separated, yada yada, and like I still want to be friends, and like I don't know why, but it was cute. I thought it was cute, at least.
I agree. I really like that one.
But then like you have a ghost one, didn't we?
Yes.
We had a ghost one. It's been so long. Technically,
Perth was dead.
We had a ghost one.
And like that was like that weird like three person one is because Perth was dead, and then Tally was having a hard time moving on, but Yoon was like, it's okay, like we can like make space for Perth in like our
maybe
relationship.
That's not the one I was thinking
essentially.
of. I was thinking whatever the orange one was. Thursday, I think. I
Yes.
can't remember. I thought that was a ghost one too. What happened in that one? I don't even remember. But what I was gonna say, I don't remember. It's been too long. But
He was really
yes, that's what
superstitious.
it was. Something with superstition. But I mean, maybe that's why I thought it had something to do with ghosts. Because like I do know, I remember the other one because it involved three of the characters. But we also got a player and player relationship.
Yes, yes,
Like they played each other so
yes.
freaking hard, they fell for each
Love.
other, and I want more of that one. I
Yes.
don't think I've still to this day have seen another series.
Honestly, that dynamic is so
Yes,
good.
and I don't think I've seen another series that plays that hard like it did. Like I mean, I'm sure
Mhm.
we've had other players, well, for other players type of series, but I can't think of any at the top of my head that were like that. Cause like one of them,
I
who
agree.
was it? Kyung, Keung or something like that. King,
Q and
and it starts with a P.
something like that. Plank? Pang?
I don't remember, but
Plang?
it was Wednesday. I do know that.
It's
I
been a long
think.
time,
I think
yeah.
it was Wednesday. And the one that was representation of Wednesday. And like they were both players, but like they both started like playing around with each other and that lead one of them to become really obsessed and the other one like he also had some obsession too. He just was not to the extent of the other one. And then they, I don't know. Something about that dynamic was so good.
I agree. That was a lot of fun.
I love cute shows, but I kind of am down for a player on player kind of reaction, which would probably be a little toxic to a certain extent, but if done well, might not be necessarily. Depends. I don't know. I don't know if you can really do a player on player relationship without some toxic abilities between the two, to be honest.
But like there's like an acceptable layer of toxicity that like I can deal with.
True.
And I feel like that if done well can like fall like within that like acceptable range. I just feel like Only Friends like exceeds that just by on premise.
That's fair. To be fair, I don't think we had a player-player relationship in that one. We have a player trying to
I
go
was mainly
out
just
of his behaviors, but like no, I know what you're talking about. I was trying to think.
like the toxicity like range that I was talking about.
Yeah. I know we have two players to an extent, but they're in two different couples in that series. They're not together.
Mhm.
Anyways, I don't know, it's been a while. But yeah.
Going into like more like messy ensembles, like there's technically Why Are You, but that was just a mess,
It was supposed to have more side couples
start to
than it
finish.
got.
Mhm. Yeah, and there was already so
And
many.
I hated that it was supposed to be based more around
Sypha and Zahn.
but it ended up being focused around the other two. I with not Saint Press.
Fighter and Tutor.
Yes, the Fighter and Tutor's characters. And
The Saint.
granted, part of that had to do with the situation, what was going on during the filming.
It was a
Mm-hmm.
COVID.
So it made
Yeah.
it hard for them to ever film the other two. But like that was so sad that happened that way.
Truly unfortunate. Cutie Pie to an extent. It was definitely more of a
Yeah,
focus,
for sure.
but to an extent. I feel very similarly about the Tharn type, specifically season 2, and then the Love by
Mm-hmm.
Chances,
Lip changes for sure were
because like
ensembles.
those are Love by Chance, yeah. But like Tharn type 2 kind of like seeps into that as well,
Mm-hmm.
slightly more than season 1, but then again,
Granted, that's because Thor and Type were kind of already together, and they just had their issues that would surface occasionally. Because Type
yeah.
needs anger management.
And like while there are so many more that I could talk about, I think it's okay for us to move on.
With that being said, we shift orbits and we find ourselves at the factors that make or break these shows. This new path takes us deeper into ensemble shows, uncovering hidden connections and unfolding new layers.
There are a lot of things that are common issues with ensemble shows.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who loves them. It is so common for these shows to have pacing issues
Mm-hmm.
simply because there's so much going on, but at the same time, a lot of times, not a lot going on. Like, I know that doesn't quite make sense. It makes sense in my head because I know what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about, but And, like, it has a lot to do with how it's set up because a lot of times, if it's, like, a mixed bag setup where everything's kind of happening at the same time, you can have a big issue happening with one couple and then nothing happening with the other.
Yeah. I know where you're coming from.
We we're cutting to them as if they're at the same level of story, which causes for highs and lows, like, in pacing.
Yeah, because it doesn't really work out as smoothly as they
Mhm.
would have ideally hoped it to.
And, like, in a similar vein, while, like, ensembles, like, kind of hinge on the fact that there's a lot of characters and couples, there's a limit because, like, there can be far too many very quickly.
Mhm, for sure.
You hate to see it, but this does lead can lead to, like, favoritism in at best. And then at worst, sometimes, frankly, there are some just characters or couples you do not care about and just kind of, like, speed past them every time you're they're on your screen. And, like, you hate to admit it, but I feel like it happens to the best of us. But I will say, in, like, a more positive light, having big cast and, like, the casting in, like, big cast are always so much fun because you see so many people typically, and just and so fun to see a familiar face pop up directly after a familiar face for the entirety of a show. I go more in depth on this in the episode that comes out later this week on Perfect Ten Liners because by golly, so many familiar faces in pretty much every single character that shows up in that entire show.
There were so many people that they managed to sneak in for roles.
I made an entire section where I talk nothing but but about them.
Are you surprised? No, not at all.
Finally, our third focus is audience perception. This is where we highlight its significance in understanding the deeper layers of ensemble shows.
I think you've kind of explained this a little bit back when you were giving a definition for it, but that's okay. You want to elaborate on it some more?
In the grand scheme of things, I think, and I've seen a lot of people say that they find ensemble shows boring strictly because they hinge on the fact that they focus more on characters and interpersonal relationships rather than this big cohesive plot, which, even as a lover of ensemble shows, is valid. But here's the thing, I would much rather have a boring show that is focused on characters and character growth and interpersonal relationships rather than a plot driven story because that's just how I am. That's how I enjoy stories is through characters rather than plot. And that's just how I am. And both are valid. It's just however you decide that you enjoy stories. I do feel like there are like two categories of ensemble shows, and like we've kind of mentioned this on and off throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Um, but you can have like the mixed bag, as I refer to them as, where like every character story, like all the couple stories are going on at the same time, and we're just cutting constantly between them. And like those can be really fun if they're written well, but I do feel like they're harder to write and harder to write well, even because it's so much easier to compare them because like they're all happening at the same time, and it's a lot easier for characters to kind of slip through the cracks of like not getting as much attention on their story because it's being overpowered by another storyline. On the other side of the coin, you have like the ensemble shows that have like more section storylines where for a set number of episodes we focus on one story and then transition to another. Perfect 10 Liners did this. Why Destiny does this. You can get more detail and have like pretty much guarantee more equal screen time and emphasis on focus within like storylines if they're done this way. And I do feel like those type of ensemble shows, even if like people like generally don't like or enjoy ensemble
Mhm.
shows, can like find more enjoyment in these type because it doesn't feel as jumbled.
Yeah.
Because like there's like clear sections within them,
Mhm.
so they just feel like mini shows that are kind of just put together.
Oh, that makes sense.
I spent a lot of time like thinking about like because like it took me a long time to recognize like within myself why I enjoy ensemble shows so much and like why other people don't to any degree. So like, I've thought a lot about this.
We can tell, and that it's appreciated.
My love of, like I said this at the top, my love of ensemble shows really hinges on my love of found family and the emphasis of like the platonic nature that like just like has to exist in these
Uh-huh.
shows. And that was that's a lot of looking inside of myself
It really is.
deep down, which is what it is.
I don't think I have much to say only because I unfortunately fall on the other side. Like, I can watch an ensemble show clearly. I've got a few, but I am definitely watch more of the others for sure. If that makes sense.
Which is unfortunate
Uh,
for me.
uh,
Just as a person who enjoys them and like likes to talk about them, but you don't watch a lot of them. I've been telling you to watch The Warp Effect for quite literally since it's like ended.
fair enough.
Highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. It's one of my favorites. I love it a lot.
We've broken everything down. Now it's time to put it all together. In this segment, we'll share our thoughts on ensemble shows as a full constellation and reflect on its total impact. Cyrus loves ensemble shows.
Personally, I love them.
I think that point has been
I
made.
love them with my entire being. I've talked literally this entire episode about nothing but how much I love them.
Yeah, that's okay though.
This has pretty much just all been me, and that's okay.
It's not the first time that it's been one of us mostly.
A nice change of pace.
Hmm.
It's typically more the other side.
Okay, I know I have a motor mouth.
Hey, we all know how the Heart Killers ended up. Like that one was mostly me.
Yeah, there's that too.
Our series satellite. But a lot of times with our general episodes, it is a there are some episodes that like we both have like mutual and like more equal love of the topic. This just happens to be a topic that I have more to say about, but simply because I just have watched more. And if like you take our previous episode, a general episode on remakes, Nixie talked a lot more in that episode because she's simply just seen more remakes and has like more experience with them. So I think this is a nice
Hmm.
little trade-off um in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about it that way.
I didn't until this moment. That is kind of how that worked. And they're pretty close in release too, which is kind of a fun little
Yeah.
caveat. Like that was 2 weeks ago.
I do occasionally enjoy ensemble shows. I do think, though, my favorite ones are when it's more one after the other rather than a mixed bag. I don't mind a mixed bag if done right, but I do think the ones that are more memorable for me are going to be the ones where we get to see one character grow, come together, and then go to the next one in like little sets.
Yeah. We talk a lot about it in the episode that is dedicated to it, obviously. But I really do feel like Perfect Ten Liners is such a good ensemble show for people who don't really like
Mm-hmm.
ensemble
I'll agree
shows.
with that.
And that is strictly coming from my personal experience with how much Nixie adores Perfect Ten Liners.
I actually really enjoyed the show a lot. It was so cute.
I've heard her talk nothing but that show for weeks now, which is personally I love it for her.
I do it
Like,
all the time with shows. You should be used to it.
but not with ensemble shows. It's
That's fair. That's
different.
also fair. I don't do that often with them.
Honestly, I think the theme of this episode, the lesson, the takeaway, however you want to say it, is how much I recommend the warp effect,
Mm-hmm.
and how much we recommend perfect 10-liners. Biggest takeaway is, if you haven't seen either, you should go watch them. They're so good. Way different vibes. Way different
They probably
vibes.
showcase the two different types.
I agree, yeah. I think the warp effect is like one of the best written mixed bags that I've come across. And the perfect 10-liners has a really good
Mm-hmm.
timeline in the structured
Yes.
style of ensemble shows. And we go in depth in that in the series Satellite
We sure
coming out
do.
later this week. But they're a lot of fun.
And just like that, the constellation is fully drawn. We thank you for joining us for this episode of Stars Align Dramas and Dreams podcast, where we meet amongst the stars that illuminate the love stories that light up our universe and connect us all.
If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and share your stardust and thoughts with us. We'd love to hear your comments, favorite moments, or suggestions for what we should explore next.
You can connect with us in the comments or through our socials, as well as our email that are linked in the description. Let's keep the conversation going under the stars.
Until next time, keep dreaming, keep listening, and remember, love always shines brightest in the cosmos.
Bye.